Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things, and on this Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. We're going to talk a bit about, I hate to bring this up, but somebody asked, the hat. We're going to give an M4 update. Is it still scratching film? How's it been using it for a couple weeks now? We'll talk a little bit about GLP's Bankside first impressions and the worst day I've had at work for a very long while, where everything just made me want to, I don't know, drink muriatic acid straight from a gallon jug. It was just that annoying. We'll of course have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. And then at the end of the show, we will do Patreon shoutouts and updates, thanking our generous Patreon supporters and letting you know what you can look forward to exclusively on Patreon this coming week. So, let's get into it. All right, gang, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, first of all, this coming week we will have the I Got a Leica M4 video where I explain the whole process of how it happened, how I ended up with the Leica M4, why I chose the Leica M4, where I got the Leica M4. As you can see, I'm very excited about this camera. I've been using this camera a lot, probably too much considering the fact that film is something that you actually have to purchase. I do develop myself, so that makes it cheaper, but still, I can't be shooting several rolls of film every single week. That's just not sustainable. But I've been doing that recently, and I've been loving using that camera. So this first video is going to be about how, why, and where I got the Leica M4. Eventually, I will do a review of the Leica M4 once I feel as though I've got my head fully around it and I'm comfortable using it. The week after that, we will have GLP's Bankside first impressions, and I think this is the first Vaporkia that I've ever reviewed. We've talked about Vaporkies in the past, the Virginia Perique Kentucky blend. So Vapors are Virginia Perique, comes from the postal abbreviation for the state of Virginia, and then adding Perique, P-R-E on there, so Vapor. Vaporki, yes, Vaporki is the Virginia Perique plus the postal abbreviation for Kentucky, KY. Vaporkia is Virginia Perique, and then we kind of mess it around a little bit because it's KIA, so with Latakia. So we're combining Kentucky and Latakia together at the end for Vaporkia. So it's a Virginia Perique, dark-fired Kentucky, Latakia blend. Interesting, and Bankside is definitely, I think, a really good example of it. I mean, I haven't had a ton of Vaporkias, but Bankside was quite tasty. This is just the first impression video, obviously, so it might change with the full review, but check that out. That'll be exclusively on Patreon, and then the week after that, we're gonna have the CRAVAR Rana 15 camera bag. So this big mother is a bag that was sent to me for review by a company called CRAVAR. They are in Jakarta, Indonesia. And this is a combination laptop camera bag. So I just recorded this review today. Interesting bag. Be sure to check this out when it posts on the channel. Okay, we're gonna lead things off with a question from the audience. This is from @Johnny MCSHU914B. who says, Bradley, any chance you can share what hat it is you wear in all your videos? I'm a big fan of the style. Thanks. I don't wear it in every video, but pretty much every video. I've got some sad news about the hat, gang. First of all, this is a hat. We've talked about it before. People ask me about it all the time. Some people hate it. Some people love it. For some reason, it has this strong reaction from people out in the crowd. It was a hat that I bought 25 years ago. This hat is older than probably a lot of you who are watching this video right now. I got it when I worked at a Bloomingdale's in the Beverly Connection in Los Angeles. And I got it because it was cheap, because I could get an employee discount, and we used to hide things until they went on sale so we could buy them. It is a wool hat. It was branded Ben Sherman at the time. It's just like a shapeless wool hat. It doesn't, well, it does have some stiffening in the brim, but it's a very short brim, which I like. And then there's really nothing. There's no lining or anything. It's just wool. There is like a sweatband. And I love it because it's small, compact. It doesn't have a really long bill. It doesn't look like your typical baseball cap. But there's just something, I don't know, there's just something special and unique about it. And I guess that's why some people freak out and say they hate it. Some people say they love it. I've had this forever. It is my hat. If people think of me, they think of me wearing this hat. I do have hair. There it is. It looks weird all the time because I only cut it, you know, every like 5 or 6 months, and I don't want to bother combing it and taking care of it. So I usually wear a hat. The problem is that the hat is finally wearing out. It's been 25 years I've had this hat, and I have worn it a ton. Not every day, but often. I often wear this hat, and it is finally getting to the point where, I don't know if you can see this, but on the brim, the hard material underneath the wool is starting to show through, and it's only a matter of time before this just like peels back entirely, and it's completely just I mean, I guess I can still wear it, but I'm not going to when it gets to that point. And even the wool on the hat or on the top of the head, if you hold it up to light, it's just like, you can see how thin it has become. I mean, 25 years. That is a testament to quality, huh? 25 years? And I have never washed this hat in the entire time I've had it, which I know probably seems kind of disgusting, but it is wool, so it doesn't smell. I don't think it smells. I have smelled it. It smells fine. So anyway, I have been diligently looking for a replacement for this hat. Obviously, Ben Sherman doesn't still make this hat, and I doubt they ever made it to begin with. They just slapped their name on it. But it was 25 years ago that I got it, and I didn't even know how to search for this. Like, I just looked for like wool, black wool cap, short brim, and I found some things, but it's really hard. Like, most of it's just gonna be a baseball cap that happens to be wool, and that's not what I want. But I did find something that might be close. And I took a gamble and I ordered one. It should be here sometime this week. And so I'm going to do a video. I don't know what I'll call it. Maybe My Hat is Dead, My Hat is Dead, Long Live My Hat, which will hopefully mean that I have found a suitable replacement in heir to this hat. But this is my hat. I'm gonna have to find like a plaque or something and mount this hat to it and hang it up on my wall, because it has done amazing, diligent service for 25 years, and it's going to be very sad when the hat finally has to be retired. Thanks for the question at Johnny MCSHU914B. Okay, and just a quick update on the Leica M4. I should be holding it as an illustration to you, but it's in my camera bag. It's over there. Well, screw it. Oh, my beautiful Leica M4. I could do that all day. I don't have any film in this right now. So, last week I talked about how, you know, the very first roll I put in this, I foolishly, idiotically opened the bottom before having rewound the film. I don't know what possessed me. I don't know what was going on. I think I was just too excited and just acting like an idiot. Anyway, kind of ruined the first roll. Since then, I have developed 4 more rolls, and I had developed 2, I think, last week, and I had noticed that I was getting some scratches on some of the frames. And so I was telling you about that, trying to figure out, kind of troubleshooting what could be wrong. Did some things to clean the pressure plate and like blow out the inside of the camera. So I developed another roll and it was fine. No scratches whatsoever. So I thought, okay, great. Whatever was going on, it is fixed now. Maybe there was just some grit or something caught inside the camera. But then the 4th roll did have some scratches. So I have no idea what's going on. If I shoot an entire roll and it's totally fine, but then the roll after that has some scratches. Is it not even the camera? But I can't tell what else it could be other than the camera, because there's nothing I'm doing in my processing that would create these long horizontal scratches. And again, there are things that I can easily get rid of when I'm doing digital editing, but I think there's something that would show up if I tried to do an actual photographic print off of the negatives. So it's not an issue as far as just getting good images that I can have digitally, but it might be an issue if I'm trying to actually print from the negatives. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the camera. I don't know if it's something else, but I'll keep you posted. Other than that, I absolutely love this thing. I think it's fantastic. I don't know what it is about using it, but it just makes me want to take pictures all the time. And I am taking pictures all the time with this camera. I've been kind of ignoring my digital camera a little bit lately, and I need to get more, 50-50 film and digital, because I can't afford to be shooting as much film as I am shooting on this camera lately. But I just want to use it. It makes me want to use it. I absolutely love it. Like I mentioned, we will have a review of the Leica M4 coming up in the coming weeks. All right, worst day ever. And again, take all of this with a grain of salt, tongue in cheek, because obviously it's not the worst day ever, but I had a horrible day. It was Friday, yesterday. And typically on a Friday, you're thinking of how the work week is winding down, you're looking forward to the weekend, getting things done. It was going to be pretty hot on Friday. A lot of the country has had this horrible heat wave. The Northwest has been pretty much spared, but it's starting to get a bit hotter here. And by hotter, I mean into the 80s, which I know to many of you won't seem like anything, but it's also pretty humid. And then when you're doing physical labor and you're not used to it being hot, it's been in like the high 60s and low 70s for us, and it's just finally starting to get into the 80s. So it's hot for us. So it was gonna be hot. We were trying to pour a monopore, meaning we were going to be pouring footings and stem walls, so the foundation of a house at the same time. Typically, we would pour the footings first and then the stem walls, but this was small enough that we were going to do them both. We had been having all these issues where the owner is not in town. He is in Texas, the person who's trying to build the house. And he was having a lot of issues with the county inspection line, the building inspectors, because there were some issues with his permitting and the way, I guess there was some fee that he hadn't paid and didn't realize. And so we had been trying to schedule this pour and schedule an inspection for the pour. So this is kind of all the backdrop, where we were hoping to get an inspection in that morning and then pour the stem wall and the footing in the afternoon at 12 o'clock. But I woke up yesterday, and I've been having some issues with allergies. I always have issues with allergies, but lately especially I've been having like a lot of issues with allergies. And that was one of the mornings where I woke up, my eyes were like glued shut and just horribly itchy. And I was just like covered in mucus, just dripping out of my nose. I was sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. My head felt like it was an overinflated balloon that was about to burst. Just felt horrible. I could not stop sneezing. And I hate it when you blow your nose and you are completely inundating the Kleenex or the tissue with mucus to the point where it's like dripping. So much fluid. I'm sorry to be descriptive, but it's just like clear mucus. You throw it away, and then 2 seconds later, there are just these rivulets running down your nose. It's like, where does this all come from? How can the body produce so much mucus? So I'm just constantly blowing my nose, constantly sneezing. My eyes are all itchy. I can barely see. I'm like, okay, I need to get to work. We need to pour this thing. We had been doing all this stuff. Like the owner had been, I think, pissing off the county because he was calling them and bugging them so much. And you got to be careful with that, because sometimes they might want to try to take it out on you. They might push you down in the line. They might not be as quick getting to your job when it's up for inspection. And so I've been trying to warn him, like, take it easy. I will call them. When the office opens, I will call them. I'll ask who the inspector is, who is assigned to our building, and I'll try to see when he's coming. And so I finally was able to call, and they told me the name of the inspector. I called the inspector. He called me back eventually. I left him a message, and then he called me back, and he said, hey, I'll try to be there around 11. It might be as late as noon. Now, our concrete was set up for noon. Our pump truck usually would get there a half hour earlier, so it would be there at 11:30. Inspectors typically don't like it if they show up at the job and find the pump truck and the concrete truck there. They don't like that usually. Even if you haven't poured yet, they get a little annoyed. So I told him, you know, we're trying to pour at noon. I hope you're not offended if the pump is there. And he's like, yeah, whatever. So we go there, we get everything ready. It's hot. I'm dripping mucus all over the place, really uncomfortable. At around, I don't know, 10:50, I call the pump company and I was like, yeah, you better hold off because the inspector still isn't here. We're going to push the mud back to probably 12:30 or 1. And he's like, well, our guy's already on the road to you, so, because he was coming from way down south, why doesn't he just go there and set up? So I was like, okay. So you have to understand that when the truck is on site, you're being charged for that. So you don't want the truck to be there super early before you're going to pour. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm trying to tell you that I don't want you here right away. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. If it's half an hour or something, we'll take half hour truck time off the bill. Like, okay, so you can come. He shows up, he sets up. It's very hot. I'm just like pouring with sweat. There's no shade on this job site. I'm sneezing everywhere, mucus dripping everywhere. It gets to be close to noon, and I had already told the concrete to hold off. I think I had pushed him back half an hour, and then it's noon and the guy still hasn't shown up, still haven't heard anything from him, and I also have no cell reception. So I have no way of contacting this person. Sometimes I can get phone calls, sometimes I can't. I have my brother text him because he was getting cell service, and we had no response. So now it's getting to the point where it's use it or lose it. Either I tell the concrete truck to come or I have to cancel for a day, which means a complete waste of a day this week, pushes our schedule back because we'll have to pour next week, but we already had a pour for a different job set up on Monday. Just completely screws everything up. I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? He said noon at the latest. And so the concrete company calls and says, what do you want to do? Either we're going to come or we're going to give your slot to somebody else. And I said, there's no way he's going to be later than, 12:30. So go ahead and come. Concrete truck finally shows up at 1 o'clock and we still have no inspector. We have not heard anything from anyone. I am just drenched in sweat and mucus and losing my mind because I am so irritated that I have not heard anything and that the inspector has never come. Finally, he contacts my brother at like 1:20. So the concrete truck has been sitting there for quite a while. It's a very hot day, and you don't want concrete just sitting in a truck spinning on a very hot day because it blows up. It goes very fast. It sets up quickly. And our pump truck has been there for 2 hours by that point, which is not ideal. So he finally shows up. He gives us a big lecture about how we shouldn't try to pour on inspection day, which, how are you ever supposed to schedule anything? Like it's just, I don't even want to get into that. But he signs us off. We start to pour, and basically it blows up on us so quickly that by the end, I was barely able to get the bolts into the top of the wall. It was just, constant movement, constant panic to get everything done and everything ready. And what should have been a fairly simple, straightforward, smooth day ended up taking way longer. We didn't get off until late. I felt like I was about to collapse from the heat and the sweat and the mucus and the sneezing and the stress. It was horrible. A very no good, horrible day. And that doesn't happen very often in my construction job because the whole point is to try to prevent days like that from happening. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Weather might have an effect or something will happen where, it's an act of God or something that's out of your hands. But usually we try to make it so days like that do not occur. And we're usually pretty successful with that. But yesterday, ugh. All right, gang. But now it is time for hashtag askstuffandthings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like to answer it on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings, but you probably shouldn't because nobody does. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can leave me messages via Patreon, go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the comment section of my YouTube videos, just like, no, not just like, this is actually from Ortsy Londa via Patreon. That's why he's at the front of the line. Ortsy says, and this is from feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. Hello, Bradley. With the videos you shared about servicing your Nikons and with your recent acquisition of the Leica, you encourage me to dust off my Canon AE1 program with my 50mm 1.4 lens and send it to have it serviced. It was bought by my mother back in the day, and it was the camera in which I learned to take pictures and develop them during my university years 13 years ago. And it is the camera in which my mother took my first newborn photos. It's been gathering dust in a display since I bought a Canon 6D when it came out, and more recently a Fujifilm X-E4. I was sorry to continue seeing it that way, and the truth is that I was bitten by the analog photography bug again to change a little. I'll start shooting with Ilford Delta, as I used to when I was developing, and with Kodak Portra, depending on what I feel like, although I'm not going to complicate developing for the moment. I love hearing that. I love hearing that someone was inspired by one of my videos about doing film photography to dig out their old film camera and use it again. And it's so cool that you have a camera that has so much like sentimental value wrapped up in it. Your mother's camera, the camera she used to take baby pictures of you. That's very cool. I love hearing that. Thank you. And then we have Ultra Classic 01 HD who says, Bradley, I'm bringing my mint Leica M6 with a Leica winder and a 35mm Summicron f2 out of retirement because of your Leica videos. Not getting into the darkroom scene again, so I will be sending my black and white film out for developing in scans. Spent 30 years as a commercial photographer, and this camera was always Top Gun for me. Again, love to hear it. And that's so cool. I'm curious what version of Summicron you have. I would love to try a Leica 35mm f2 Summicron at some point. Probably never buy one of those myself because they're so expensive, but it'd be great to try one at some point. And that's so cool that you have a beautiful M6 and a Summicron and that you're gonna start using it again. Thanks for letting me know. And then we have at Tomahawk Head who says, wonderful photos, man. It's a great combo, Leica and that lens. But after all, it's all in the hands of the one taking the shots. I'm not much of a street photographer myself, but you were doing a great job of getting me to start converting. Also, the Kodak Tri-X 400 is an amazing film. I just recently tried it for the first time after using Ilford for years, and it blew me away. Nice that it's only $9 there, here in the US, but here it's like 15 euros. So 15 euros is what, it's like 18 bucks, I think. That's expensive. So that's basically double what we pay here. And I've heard things similar. I think in Japan, it's about the equivalent of 18 US dollars for a roll of Kodak Tri-X. So that sucks. I love Kodak Tri-X. I love the fact that it's reasonably priced here and that I can use it. So yeah, it sucks that in other parts of the world that's not the case. I wonder how you scan the negatives. Did you already mention that in a video? Weird that I missed that. I hope to see a lot more of your photography. Again, thank you so much. It's great to hear from people who are into photography on this channel. I'm sure I probably did mention it, but I haven't done a specific video of it. But basically, I scan my negatives using my Canon R6, which I'm filming this video with right now. I put a 100mm Canon macro L lens on there, and then I have this thing I bought that's like this extension tube with an LED light and a film carrier. And basically, you put the negatives through, it shines through the back of the negative, and you take pictures through your camera. It's very quick. It's not the highest quality, because this is only a 20 megapixel camera, but it's good enough. Works well. And then we have some other feedback. This is from our good friend Ashes of the Phoenix 4605. So how do you develop your film? Did you build a darkroom or something? Well, I did a whole video on that. I think it was called like my first time trying to develop black and white film at home. So check that out. That's basically what I'm still doing. I use a changing bag, load up a Patterson tank with 2 rolls of film, develop it over my sink. Pretty easy. At Patrick Fryer says, Bradley, take a cotton ball and drag it across that pressure plate. If there's a burr, it should snag it. Yeah, thanks for that advice. I didn't find any snags on the pressure plate. And again, this is kind of a weird intermittent thing. I had one roll where it was fine, one roll where it wasn't. We'll see. I'm going to keep my eye on it and keep you posted. And then at Secture Eve Ever of the Thought Criminal. It's so hard to figure out what they're trying to say here. Sector Vero Thought Criminal. Maybe. Who says, love Arango Balkan Supreme. So we had the Balkan Supreme Under Pressure video that was exclusive to Patreon last week. Check that out if you have a chance. Very cool little test. And then at Michael Case 8574 says, yes, Talon still makes first line zippers and other closures. Carnaby Street Fashion was big in the mods. So I was talking about that very cool Bronson M1951 US Army parka replica that I got, that I love, by the way. It's so nice and such good quality. And they have Talon zippers on there. And then at New Media of the Dawn says, quick, it's that guy Bradley again, drinking too much coffee, then urinating into the grass on your lovely beach after talking to himself for half an hour. What do we do? Says Beach Attendant 1 on a random beach in the Pacific Northwest. Quick, cut the grass and install a urinal so he can't do it again next week like he always does, says Beach Attendant number 2. Yeah, I was complaining that they had cut the grass and I could no longer mask my urine or my outdoor urination, but then they installed some urinals or some, why can't I say the word, outhouses at the park, so I don't need to pee in the grass anymore. And then finally, we have some feedback from the Arango Balkan Supreme Under Pressure video. Paul D says, well, despite your omnipresent skepticismness, it seems to have been a win for the pressure cooker this time. I cook a lot of stews, soups, and curries using a pressure cooker, which, besides cooking things 3 times faster, a precursor to the microwave, it actually enhances flavors a lot more. A case in point is a curry cooked in a pot will take a few days sitting in the fridge for the flavors to come forward, whereas the pressure cooker breaks out the flavors much sooner, even though it also improves with a day or two. I think similarly, the tea process under pressure has done much the same. Thank you for the vid. And yeah, if you want to check that video out on Patreon, $5 a month gets you in, gang. You will see that the 4-hour treatment with the pressure cooker had a very marked effect on the Arango Balkan Supreme. Quite interesting. CH says, I'd say do the other 4-hour and pressed teas in a video and try the 2-hour one off camera so you can mention if there was any discernible difference. I did all the 4-hour stuff. Was there one 4-hour one I didn't do? I thought I did almost all the 4-hour ones, and I left the 2-hour ones out because I figured the most obvious effect will be from 4 hours, so I might as well just skip right to those. But yeah, I'll look at that. And then El Torney said, interesting, I only started S-ing a P about a year ago, but in my research, I quickly stumbled across the practice of home stoving. It seemed very popular, especially with people who buy the bulk Stokkebye flakes as almost a shortcut for aging. Yeah, and I've never really gotten into it, but after having experienced this, I definitely can see how it might have an effect. I don't know that it's going to be one-to-one what aging a blend would be, but you will definitely notice something if you put a blend in a pressure cooker. I always love your PE content. I could say pipe. I always love your pipe content, Bradley. Keep it coming. Your good friend, Kip. Thank you, Kip. Thank you very much for your support on Patreon, and thank you all so much for writing in. Please keep it up. It really helps make the show go. And now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support Stuff and Things on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. It's basically the only way you can show your support for this channel, the best way. If you like the content that I put on YouTube or the exclusive content that you get on Patreon, well, you wouldn't know about that if you're not supporting it on Patreon. But if you do $5 a month, you will get in to the Patreon ecosystem. You'll be able to see all the videos that we post exclusively there. You also get the YouTube videos early and ad-free on Patreon. We're slowly building up an archive of all the old pipe blend reviews that are no longer on YouTube because I had to take them off YouTube because of all the crazy getting kicked out of the YouTube partner program thing. But that's all going on to Patreon. So eventually we'll have the entire archive of all my old reviews and a lot of the other old pipe videos on Patreon. And then every week you get exclusive Patreon videos as well. So check that out if you wish. But every week we like to shout out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month. The producers of Stuff and Things. People like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, Jonathon Proctor, The Friendly Piper, GreatGrol, Glenn, Just Glenn, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, Mr. Gibson, and Chris Caughey. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and perpetual Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, what can you look forward to exclusively on Patreon this week? Well, our YouTube video is non-pipe related, so that is going to be, I got a Leica M4. That'll be on YouTube on Wednesday, but you can look forward to that on Patreon, early and ad-free on Monday. Then on Thursday, we will have my original review of Solani Virginia Flake with Perique. So the last From the Archives review we posted was Solani Aged Burley Flake, an amazing burley blend. And I think at the time I was so impressed with that I wanted to get another Solani blend. And so I tried Virginia Flake with Perique because I love vapors. Even all the way back in 2015, I was a huge fan of vapors. So that is the next review I posted, and the next review you'll be able to see on Patreon. Gang, it's been a long one, so I'm gonna cut it here and start editing. But thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for all the good stuff we have coming up on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. But until next time, until we meet again, I'm your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday. Stuff and Things. I'll see you later. Too much talking.